Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You are watching another Friday Ace of Spades website review, except as you can see today is on Thursday because, well, over the weekend I am taking the information highway wife and we are going up to Auckland. Today's topic, the little things that make all the difference. I'm going to be discussing a few things, some of which I've talked about before and some of which I haven't, which seem sort of niggly and you probably wouldn't even notice them a lot of the time, but they make a big difference to your users and to how much they convert, which is of course what we all want. And to demonstrate the principle, we're looking at www.passivepanda.com. Thank you, James. And as always, we're going through the Frodo conversion rate checklist, first reaction, orientation, desirability, and offers. Not forgetting Odo, which is the core of the checklist, and not forgetting that attention equals contrast plus iPath. That will become important in a minute. First reaction, how does the site make me feel? The site makes me feel fairly good. It's clean, it's professionally designed. It, to me as a designer, it has a slightly templatey feel about it, but that probably won't affect most prospects. The only thing that I would say here is that it feels good, but it is very white. It could use a little bit more visual interest. A little bit more color or a slightly more unusual layout might be helpful, but that isn't a major issue. It certainly doesn't ring any warning bells in my head, and that's what first reaction is really all about. Orientation. Am I in the right place? Well, I'm actually one of the sort of ideal prospects that Passive Panda has in mind because I'm a freelancer and I'm interested in earning more passive income. So when I arrive on the site, I must admit I wasn't sure what it was about. I did see passive in the Passive Panda, obviously, that's fairly clear. So I get the sense that it's about passive income, but that isn't explicitly confirmed in actual words. The headline says join 24,000 blah 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 monthly readers and start earning more. So again, that sort of reconfirms that this is about passive income. But it would be nice to actually see those words somewhere on the site. So just a tagline underneath the main heading, the masthead here, that said something like Passive Panda teaches you about earning more using passive income or something. That would be helpful. The navigation does tell me a bit more about Passive Panda, recommended resources, free webinars. So I know that webinars are on the table, and I know that articles are on the table. There is one thing that we need to talk about in regards to orientation, though. And this is something that most people probably don't think about much. If I click on, for example, free webinars, and I have a look around, I think, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. So I click on home. Home is always the top left link, right? Oh wait, you don't even read it, you just click on it, and then it doesn't take you where you expect to go. So now I'm like, how the heck do I get back to the home page? Where was I before? And okay, I've got a back button. Users will routinely use that. But it's nice to be able to actually click on the home button as well. That's something which is very important to a user's comfort. And some users will just be like, stuff it, I'm in the wrong place, and leave. Some users will be like, what the hell's going on here, and feel like you're a dork. And you kind of are, because you haven't got a home link. And some users will be, kind of peeved and figure out that Passive Panda, even though it doesn't have a rollover effect like these links do, is actually how to get back to the home page. So that's an important consideration. A little thing, but important. Desirability. Do I believe I'll gain more than I invest? And in that regard, the answer is a very clear yes. I signed up, so it must be fairly desirable. The headline, is fairly strong, because if 24,852 other people are reading this every month, then it must be worth reading. That's the power of social proof. And of course, I want to start earning more, so there's benefit implied in the headline. That said, I can't help feeling that possibly it could be stronger. I wonder if this wouldn't make a very good subhead, and a different headline would work better to draw the reader in immediately. The body copy is good. It's nice and short. I would say a little too short. It draws you in with the promise of teaching you how to earn more money, time, and freedom, and then it has nice little lists, so that's good. Lists are always great for scannability. And you get a bonus, which is it says free, which, you see that word and you're like, oh good. And you can get a 7-part freelancing 101 course. So that's cool. However, we do have a bit of a problem, and again, it's a sort of a little thing. It's not going to be making a huge difference, but it is making a difference. You remember that attention equals contrast plus IPath. Well, IPath also equals attention and contrast. You can kind of flip the formula around a bit. So when you've got something like an image over here, what it's doing is it's grabbing your user's attention because it has high contrast, and thus it's altering the user's IPath. So the normal IPath is like this. Boop, 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 boop. Okay? Kind of an F-shaped pattern. This IPath is just, and then like that. But the image isn't actually conveying any kind of value. The image is showing me the same site that I'm currently on. Well, that doesn't help. What I need to see is something that forcibly conveys value. If you're going to drag my attention away from the copy that tells me about the value, the image had better convey the value even better, and the image doesn't. And 99% of the websites on the internet do this. They have images that don't convey value and steal attention from copy. Always make sure your image conveys value. Okay, that's a relatively minor point, otherwise everything's good. Lastly, offers. Do my goals match the available options? And yes, I do want to learn more about earning money, building a network, and growing a business, so I can sign up. That's cool. But some people aren't going to want to make that jump just yet. Some people are much more reluctant to give out their email addresses than I am. I'm not sure why, because I mean you can always unsubscribe or spam things, but I don't know, maybe people aren't as good at managing their email boxes than I am. So you want to give them a second option. And I've said this before. I mean, this is common basic internet marketing 101. You want to give people two options. One is the option that you most want them to take, and one is the second option that will at least keep them on the website and hopefully redirect them back to the option that you want them to take, rather than just leaving. So it could be offering them free webinars, or it could be learning more about Passive Panda, something along those lines. That's always good. Now, last thing, this little button here, the sign up button, yeah, it's kind of tiny. It's kind of hard to hit, kind of hard to spot, especially with this image and the other green going on. You would be surprised at how big, how absurdly big you can make a call to action button before it starts to impact negatively on your page. You could make it half the size of your page, and as long as it is actually styled like a button so people recognize it for what it is, it will still get more clicks than one that's only a third the size of the page, which is already obscenely big, and no one would think to design a button that big. You really cannot make a call to action button too big. The other thing is that a call to action button is best when it is very, very noticeable, and the most noticeable color is red, but red conveys danger, so red's no good. The second most noticeable color is orange, and you'll notice, for example, that the back and forward button on my browser, those are orange. They get my attention nice and easily. It's easy to spot them so I can click on them. That's a fairly standard design UI, as convention. So I would suggest that making the sign up button much bigger and orange would increase conversions, and then, like all the other links, when you roll over it, it could turn green, which indicates go. So that's a further idea, because ideally all of your links, anything clickable, should change when you move your mouse over it to give feedback. This is clickable, please click me. Okay. What have I talked about? Firstly, a home link in your navigation is surprisingly important. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it can be a big deal to some users, and it just makes navigating the site that much easier. And that applies especially for people on mobile browsers and things. It makes things so much easier for them. People using screen readers, if they're disabled, they can't see properly, it makes a huge difference if they can just click on the home link, or the equivalent in their browser. Secondly, make your calls to action huge, like bigger than you would think necessary, and make them orange. Thirdly, give your reader a second option with calls to action. You don't want them to decide that they don't want to click on the thing that you asked them to click on, and so they leave instead. You want to make sure that they hang around, and even if they don't do what you want them to do immediately, you give them some other options so that you can draw them back to that later. And fourthly, only use images that forcibly convey value. Don't steal your reader's attention away from your copy, which is really good in this case. It could be better, it could be more conversational, but it's pretty good. Don't steal their attention away from that with an image that doesn't actually show them anything useful. Alright, having said all that, this is actually a really good site. This site is surprisingly good. This site almost makes me feel like James has read Attention Thievery 101, my book. I don't know if he has, but I'm going to give him a Web Copy and Design Certified High Caliber Award. This website is Information Highwayman approved. Well done, James. Now, if you would like to email me with comments, questions, or hate mail, or get one of these reviews for free, normally $99, drop me a line, non@informationhighwayman.com. I'm always happy to hear from you. And of course, you can sign up for free straight shooting marketing tips, the Ace of Spades email newsletter at informationhighwayman.com/ace. And I mentioned Attention Thievery 101 before. I'm actually ramping up to launch a new version, but if you buy it now, you will get the new version, so don't worry, you can buy it at attentionthievery.info. Thank you for watching. That is all for today, and I will see you next Friday. I'm Non.